It is indeed the promise of the Guru that I will come again and again with bleeding feet. I will come, if need be, 1,000,000,000 times, as long as I know that one stray brother is left behind. Guru will take us, each of us, all of us, to God, and that is his only desire. The bond between the Guru and his disciples is eternal and forged over many lifetimes. There is a sweet story between Yoganandaji and one of his disciples, Senor Coron from Mexico. Master, when he met Mr. Coron, he said, I lost sight of you for a few lifetimes, but now that I've found you, I will never lose you. And from time to time, whenever Senor Coron meets Master, he will remind Master that don't forget your promise, sir. And then Master would say, I won't. I will never lose you again. And that's his words for all of us too. And you may recall this the scene from Autobiography of a Yogi where Lahiri meets Babaji for the first time in this incarnation. Lahiriji doesn't remember Babaji, but Babaji welcomes him and says, though you lost sight of me, I never lost sight of you. I pursued you over the luminescent astral sea. I followed you like a mother bird, guarding her young. My eye was ever on you. Indeed, as Adi Shankaracharya said, there's no blessings in the three worlds that is greater than having a true Guru. And I think many of you, or all of you maybe, agree that Guru gives us more than what we ask. Sometimes it's so overwhelming, that blessings that he gives. And naturally, as disciples, we think, then what can I give to the Guru? What will be my promise to return his blessings? So I want to share a few thoughts on that. Yoganandaji started his book, Autobiography of a Yogi, with this sentence, that the characteristic features of Indian culture have long been a search for ultimate verities and the concomitant disciple-guru relationship. He didn't say guru-disciple, he said disciple-guru. Why? Even though the Guru knows who his disciples are, he won't come to us until and unless we call him. It is the disciple's part, disciple's role to initiate that relationship. And not just once. We need to keep calling to him, the Guru, Guruji. Once someone asked Swami Kriyananda that it's so easy to feel God's presence and Master's presence when I'm with you. But how can I continue to feel that his presence when I'm not with you, with Swami Kriyananda? And that applies to us also. We feel his presence in this temple when we gather to meditate or for this satsang or kirtan. what about for the rest of the week? How can we continue to feel his presence? So Swami Kriyananda's answer was this: in anything you do, feel or call to the Guru to be with you in that experience. And not only to call, but feel that he's already with you. He's thinking through your thoughts. He's moving through your actions. He's in the heart of your feelings. Guru is not somewhere out there. He's here within. Another promise or commitment we can make to the Guru that came to my mind. Let me share this story. It happened one day. Yogananda ji was giving flower to disciples. So he handed a red rose to one of the women disciples. And she said, "Oh, I don't want red one, I want a pink one." And Master said, "What I give, you take." Okay. There's another story of a saint in India. He used to throw stones. He used to throw stones to the disciples, and not like playfully or casually. He throw with force, with anger. And some disciples, they were like, "What?" So they left the stones on the ground, and they left the Guru altogether. But some other disciples, they picked up the stones because it's from the Guru, picked up with devotion and reverence, put it in the pocket, went home, and they took it out, and it was turned into golden nugget. Okay? So what he gives, we take. Swamiji made this observation from the days that he lived in Yoganandaji's ashram. He said, he observed how his disciples were. And he said, those who advance most quickly on the spiritual path are those who receive the Guru completely into their consciousness. And those who sought to maintain their mental freedom by, not opening fully, advanced slowly. And those who insisted on maintaining their own opinions never seemed to grow. So on this Purnima, on Guru Purnima, I'd like to invite you that one is to reflect upon or show gratitude to all the things that, all the blessings that our Guru has given us, but also, what we can do for him. Not that he needs anything, but with our devotion, what can we give? And maybe think of something that is beyond what you usually do. We already have routine or, some comfort zone, but try to go beyond and offer him something more, something little more, because we are here today because he's with us. So that is my thoughts on today. Jai Guru.
And especially today we are talking about the Guru. Guru Purnima is just around the corner. And the topic for today, of course, is the promise of the Guru. But from the Ray's reading, it is also, do we need a Guru? And I think we keep talking about this topic enough that we know, yes, we need a Guru. And who needs a Guru? I think on one level, everyone needs a Guru. Maybe not consciously they recognize that need, but really I look around me and I see, every one of us in some way or the other, whether we are on the path, whether we are not on a spiritual path, we all have our share of suffering, isn't it? We all have things that, bring pain and suffering to us. And if that's the case, and that is the case with every human being without exception, then really everyone needs a Guru. But the more important question, we know we need a Guru, is do we want a Guru? And there's a difference. So we need a Guru, yes, but do we want a Guru? And I thought I'll speak to that today a little bit. Because theoretically we all recognize, yeah, we want a Guru, but how badly? How deeply, how desperately do we want a Guru? And I was thinking that why is it that so often in life we don't want the Guru? Like Chika was saying, we keep those barriers. We are not willing to go the full way. Why is that we don't want something that great fully? Some years ago, 5 years ago, I had gone on a hiking trip. This was to a place in the Himalayas called the Valley of Flowers. It's a very beautiful place. And just beautiful exotic varieties of flowers. They bloom just for a very short period of time. And right there next to the valley is a pilgrimage spot also called Hemkund Sahib. It's the highest Gurudwara in the world. Both of these very high in the Himalayas. And I had gone with some friends, Dr. Aditya from Pune, for those of you who know him, Naya Swami Jaya, and Abhishek from Noida. So we had a very nice time. And recently I thought, hey, it'll be fun to organize a trip again there, maybe with devotees. So I asked some people, hey, would you like to go? And people said, yes, absolutely, sign us up. We are wanting to go. So I said, great. I said, but it's not a walk to Panchsheel Park. This is high in the Himalayas. We go till 15,000 feet. You guys have to prepare. Absolutely, sign us up. So I said, there'll be training and this and that. Yes, sign us up. So good, very good to see that enthusiasm. But I was thinking about it, that it'll be, let's say, a week-long trip. But really, there'll be a couple of days we'll really spend there. Maybe a day in the valley, a day at the Gurudwara. But there's a week-long trip. The journey isn't very pleasant till you get into the mountains. There's riding in a bus and motion sickness and pollution and all of these things. And then there is the journey from now till the trek, which is also a lot of preparation. Okay, let's be disciplined, let's exercise, let's get in shape. But what I was thinking was, it's remarkable that we will go there, spend just a short amount of time, so much other time just preparing, yet everyone is still enthusiastic, and they will feel fulfilled. And it made me wonder about the spiritual path. Because on the spiritual path, our destination, the Valley of Flower here, is the Valley of God realization. The one valley where we can stay. Once we reach there, we never have to come back down. And then there is the journey. Even to that valley, there is a journey, there is a path. But I was thinking, it's not easy on the spiritual path. The kind of enthusiasm we feel for a trip like this, it's not easy to sustain that enthusiasm for our spiritual lives. We come on the path, we are very gung-ho, let's do this, got my Kriya, got my Guru, everything is going great. But then the times come, as they come to all of us, when the lows come, when we don't feel so inspired, when we are like, is this even the right path? Does God even exist? Does the Guru care about me? What is the goal? And I was like, why is that? Because the goal is, the promised land is so great. Why are we now not so enthusiastic for this journey that is lying before us? And really, I thought the answer is quite simple on one level. When we talk about going to a place like the Valley of Flowers, Or we say, let's go to Switzerland. Let's go to Goa. All these places, we have a concept of them. We've seen pictures. Friends have told us what it looks like. We've seen videos. And so we know what it is, and that's what generates the enthusiasm, isn't it? We know what the goal is. We know where we're going. On the spiritual path, really, we don't really know where we're going. We have some idea. We do. It's not like the masters haven't made it clear. They tell us you will reach a land of infinite love, ever new bliss, a bliss that will never end. That's great, but really it's still a little, it doesn't evoke that kind of enthusiasm for whatever reason, because we don't have a conception of that yet. We do. We see the pictures of the beach in Goa. We can visualize ourselves lying there. That'll be restful. So we have a concept. There's something we look forward to. Here, this is subtle territory, infinite joy, ever new, unconditional love. So it's okay. It's okay. We don't have that idea of where we are going, and therefore, the journey, we cannot summon up so much enthusiasm and interest, and every day I'm going for it. That's really why we're not able to do it. That's very okay to feel that way. But I was thinking, if that is the case, how do we, because we have to make the journey also pleasant. If we don't travel this distance, if we don't get onto the bus, like the Valley of Flowers, we're not going to get to the Valley of God realization. So how do we do that? And two things that came to my mind that I want to share with you today. One is devotion. Devotion, deep love for God, for gurus, the quality of the heart. And Swami Kriyananda, when he first came to Yoganandaji, he says that Yoganandaji told him, get devotion. Swamiji was very intellectual, and Yoganandaji kept telling him, get devotion. Get devotion. And Swami said he made efforts. He started chanting every night, every morning. He tried to open his heart in various ways, and he got devotion more and more. And one day, Yoganandaji made a very startling statement to him. To me, it's startling when I thought about it. He said, if you had not developed devotion, he said, you would have been gone long ago. Now that's startling, because if Swami Kriyananda had not worked on his devotion, he would be gone and none of us would be in this room. Isn't that a thought? That was his devotion. We are the result of one man's devotion, in other words. But then what's a little more scary than that thought is that what about our own devotion? His devotion brought us here, but really, are we sitting on a ticking time bomb? Because if we do not put out enough effort to develop our own devotion, how much time is it till we also will be gone? So it's a scary thought, but something to motivate us, inspire us to not lose our priority, which is devotion. And then the second thing, the quality I want to talk about is Nisham Karma. We have all heard this term, Nisham Karma. What does it mean? Desire, action without desire for the fruits of action. Is it easy to practice? Good, it's not easy to practice. I thought I was the only odd one out. But it's not easy to practice. But again, when I had first gone to the Valley of Flowers 5 years ago, so day 1 we went to the valley, beautiful valley. And day 2 we go to Hemkund Sahib, this beautiful Gurudwara perched at 15,000 feet. There's a lake right next to it. But this climb is harder than the valley. Thankfully, the path is well paved. God bless the Sikhs or whoever made that path. They've paved it with concrete. And there's a beautiful railing running just all along the path. So if you feel tired, you just put your hand on the railing, you rest, you take a break, and then you keep going, hopefully chanting Jai Guru or, whatever it is. Now, when I started walking on that path, I should have practiced Nisham Karma. I did not. And I'll tell you the results. So we kept going and it was hard. But after a couple of hours of climbing that concrete path, my strength began to fail me. And I came to a point, maybe a couple of hours after starting, where I saw this long stretch of path before me. The railing is to the side. And at the end of that path was my friend Aditya from Pune. He was sitting there, he was resting, and he was looking out behind him. And then after a few moments, he looked towards me down the path. So I'm walking, and as I come closer to him, I'm thinking, almost there. I think 3/4 of the way is done, about to reach, excellent. I'm just ready for the destination here. So I get closer to Aditya and I see he has a smile on his face. I'm like, oh, okay, he's also happy. The destination's almost here. Very good. And I get to him and I look behind him, and there is like an infinite amount of distance to cover still. There is railing after railing I can see tucked into the forest high above. And I just had to, sit down and compose myself. Deep disappointment. Of course, I made the journey and finished it. But really, what did I lose in that? Because there is a deep spiritual lesson here for all of us. I forgot to enjoy the journey. I was so focused on the destination, I forgot all about the journey. And it's interesting because if you remember one time, Paramhansa Yogananda, Swami Kriyananda asked Yoganandaji, will I find God in this lifetime? And do you remember what Yoganandaji said? He said, yes. But then he added something. He said, but don't think about it. Don't think about it. And that is a hint to all of us. Because where we go wrong when we get into the habit of expectation. This was my expectation. The journey is almost over. Lo and behold, it's not. That's not reality. Happens to us in our life every day when we expect. And I'm talking also specifically about meditation. We take up the practice of meditation, but Yoganandaji said, many saints are there who meditate for lifetimes and they still don't find God. I don't think we want to be one of those saints in this lifetime, but the secret is to practice Nisham Karma, to do our meditation. That's why in the beginning I was saying, practice even meditation without expecting anything in return, because this is the truth. Expectation, just listen carefully. Expectation makes the path longer and more difficult than it is. I'll repeat that. Expectation makes the path longer and more difficult than it is. And I'll add one more truth to this. Little scary but very subtle. When we expect, the very thought of expectation actually creates time. The thought of expectation is creating the need for a future. Because if I am having an expectation right now, where will I fulfill it? Not right now. Time has to pass, the conditions have to be conducive for that expectation to either be fulfilled or not, right? If I was perfectly content here and said, okay, I love you, Guru, God, I don't want anything else, well, maybe I'll merge in God. But when we expect, we are creating we are perpetuating our suffering by creating time, space, and distance between ourselves and God. Does that make sense? Yeah, and it's a scary thought on one level. That's what I was doing on that trip, because I could have, from the very beginning, just said, wonderful that I'm here, grateful that I got to come here. Let me just enjoy this one step that I'm putting down, and let me then enjoy this second step that I'm putting down, and how nice that I'm enjoying this third step, and let me just enjoy the view all around me. And then there would be no expectation. There would be no disappointment. And do you have that feeling sometimes you maybe go on a plane, you're very tired, you sleep, maybe you fall asleep, and you wake up and you're like, oh, that was a nice nap for a few minutes. And they say, okay, we're about to land, or the plane has already landed. And isn't that a nice feeling? Wow, we're already here. And that's what happens when we don't expect. And then the unexpected comes and it gives us delight. And that's the truth. If we can remember this truth every day in our life, when we sit down to meditate, just banish that thought of expectation. Like Chika was saying, don't ask what the Guru can give me. Because in your asking, you're creating time. You're putting yourself out there that in the future, he's going to come or something will come right now. And the more we can practice these two things, devotion, increasing love, devotion, and Nisham Karma, it just becomes beautiful. The path just becomes so beautiful. And this is the thing, you can begin to enjoy the journey. I don't think enough of us, this is my feeling, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think enough of us enjoy the spiritual path. Am I wrong? Why don't we enjoy the spiritual path? You know, it's so silly. Why do we have to make it such a long drawn suffering? You know, because the goal, we think too much about it. We think too much about when and how. But why don't we just relax and say, okay, I'm here, let's enjoy. And while I am enjoying, we have many friends with whom to enjoy. Maybe I can help a few others. You know, the gurus are there, they cannot do that themselves. Maybe let me help a few others also come to this enjoyment. And so really, focus on this quality of enjoyment. You know, rather than the goal, rather than what we're getting out of it, use your willpower to banish that thought. I'll end with this last little episode that happened yesterday, a little fun play. But I was coming here for the satsang from my place in Gurgaon, and I was in a cab, and I was sitting in the back, and I think I've shared this before. Sometimes when I sit in a car and there aren't other people around, I visualize that the gurus are all sitting front seat, somebody's, the Hari Maharshas on the right, maybe masters on the back, and use that illustration. So I was there, I said, okay, master, time to prepare for the satsang, I need help. And I visualized him sitting right in front of me and being there. And then I was reading, just the reading for today. And then I looked up and my eye fell outside on a car. It was an Innova, white one. And behind it, on the Innova, it said, Divinity Travels. I'm like, wow, that's nice. But I didn't get it. You all got it before me. I'm like, okay, Divinity Travels. First I thought that's a nice name for a travel company. Like, I should start that company. But okay, Divinity Travels. So then I went back to my reading. And then after a few moments, I lifted my eye and I saw a bus. And behind the bus, believe it or not, it said, Gaurav Travels. And I had such a nice laugh over this. I said, this is unbelievable. God, you really have a sense of humor. And the bus was yellow, you know. Can you think about that? I mean, what are the odds? But then I made the connection. I said, okay, I get it. I'm not a fool. Master said, if you call me, if you need me, call to me. I am there. He promised. He said, to those who think me near, I will be near. And he was telling me, you called me, Divinity Travels, you are there. If you call me, I will travel with you. I'm on this highway of life with you. You're not alone. And if you call me, I will lead you, because the car was faster. And the bus probably had a busload of my karma on it. But still, he was there. And so let's never forget this. This is the promise of the Guru. To those who think me near, I will be near. Each one of us. Let's practice that more and more. Jai Guru.